Hello friends, yes, it's me. Do I have to tell you what time it is and what we're about to do? Well, I guess not. But for formality's sake, it's Wednesday night and this is News Extra, your 90 minutes of news with the extra touch. You know, we just celebrated the nation's 57th independence anniversary, and the issue of peace and unity was on everybody's lips. And so tonight, the trend continues. Rice, the cereal on the table of every home, is getting out of the reach of some people, you know. But government has moved to bring down the price. Also tonight, we have something on the Nigerian economy beyond oil. The National Assembly, as usual, is active. We will tell you what it is up to. Plus, the controversy about how much they earn. We have some business stories on agriculture, especially food and nutrition. Let me not spill all the beans. The taste of the pudding is in the eating. So sit back and have a taste. I am Fatima Abbas Hassan. You're welcome to News Extra. The federal government is assuring Nigerians that in the next few weeks, the price of rice, the most consumed commodity in the country, will become reasonably affordable for the nation's majority. The Minister of Agriculture, Rural Development, Audu Ogbe, announced this while briefing newsmen after the meeting of the Federal Executive Council, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that verified debt-owed electricity distribution companies are also to be settled as part of the power sector recovery program. His report.
With President Muhammadu Buhari presiding, the Federal Executive Council expressed worry over the high cost of rice as one of the staple foods in Nigeria. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture was therefore mandated to pursue to its logical conclusion some far-reaching measures being adopted towards making paddy easily accessible and affordable to rice millers by growers. This is to ensure that the processed rice is taken to the nation's markets at a more competitive price.
That means that in the next 1 month, since harvest of rice has begun in earnest, the price of rice will become reasonable and the cost of rice, as we've been hearing of, would have reduced substantially. We shall continue to pursue that. And the ministry is also equipping farmers with materials to make rice harvesting easier, so that the labor cost of rice harvesting will be substantially reduced.
Members of the federal cabinet were also not happy over media reports that a consignment of yam recently exported to the United States was found to be of poor quality.
The ministry will investigate, because the ministry is not an exporter. Exporters are private sector people. Will investigate both the company that exported it and ask our quarantine department to check and find out why such a consignment left here.
Another matter of concern to the council is the huge debt owed by the ministries, departments and agencies of the federal government to distribution companies for electricity supply. The council therefore resolved that verified claims amounting to 25.9 billion naira be settled immediately.
Payment of debt is only part of the power sector recovery program, which is the collective set of policies, programs and actions to fix the gaps and omissions in the privatization process instead of cancelling it. We think that it can be re-engineered backwards to work, and that power sector recovery program includes payment of debt, it includes metering, it includes proper governance, it includes proper regulation. So this is one of the many components. And this is important so that government can demonstrate its support for private sector by paying its own debts, so that private sector can do what they do best.
Records show that the distribution companies are also owing the federal government about 500 billion naira for the energy they have taken. The council therefore insists that the amount approved as debt be now set off against what the discos are owing. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Well, Nigeria, a land of many bounties, colors and diversity, has since her independence on 1st October 1960 been a force to reckon with, especially her unity in diversity that gave rise to tremendous growth and development. Over time, the cherished ideals and growth were hampered by factors that include corruption and bad governance. Of recent, there have been actions that threatened national unity. This development, the federal government is tackling head-on with concerted efforts. Now, X-ray in Nigeria at 57. The journey so far. Discussants on NTA's Current Affairs program Tuesday Live say much has been achieved and there is room for improvement. Over now to Talatu Ezirike.
New dawn for Nigerians at independence on 4th October 1960, with high hopes for overall growth that were pursued by the nation's founding fathers and subsequent leaders. Over time, the cherished ideals and development were, however, hindered by factors such as bad governance, corruption, impunity, agitations, ethnicity, and misplaced priorities.
I am very, very happy that the present administration, they are now looking inward. We are now investing heavily on agriculture.
The way forward, many say, include upholding fairness, justice and equity, strengthening weak institutions and provision of enabling environment for all.
The constitutional alteration we are trying to do. We have lowered the age, entry point into politics for those who will want to run for elections into national and state houses assembly, as well as governors. This is calculated to encourage the useful population.
We need to look at a party system, a political system where money is not the central focus. But importantly, I should say that Nigerians have to come at this point and unite.
There is a lot of indoctrination. It's true. Whatever the electors are told, they believe it.
For others, there are prospects of renewed hopes for Nigeria at 57, especially through the present government developmental strides that is yielding results in getting the nation out of recession with robust social investment programs and secured environment.
57 years of independence. Should we disintegrate? No. Where will the Igbo man find the market? In the southeast with the small land area? A robust and very active people who are all over the world? The southeast needs Nigeria, Nigeria needs the southeast.
Let's come together and reason. I believe our size is a blessing to us. It is for us to make that people who have record of transparency that we elect.
It is generally agreed that the nation stands to gain more through positive collective actions and support for unprecedented growth. Talatu Ezirike, NTA News.
Thank you, Talatu. Now, history is a great teacher. In fact, when history was removed from the secondary school curriculum, it raised a lot of dust. The nation's history will not be complete without the history of the country's colonial experience. And there are relics all over the place to remind us of that era. That is why key players in the Southeast are calling for the creation of a ministry that will be responsible for the relics of the colonial rule. Ifoma Nduokoli now gives us a historical expose of the seat of government of the Eastern region.
The Eastern region was an administrative region in Nigeria dating back originally from the division of the colony Southern Nigeria in 1954. The first capital of the Eastern region was Calabar. The capital was later moved to Enugu, while the second capital was Umuahia. The region had the third, fourth, and fifth largest indigenous ethnic groups, including Igbo, Ibibio, and Ijaw. The region was officially divided in 1967 into three new states: the East Central State, River State, and the Southeastern State. The East Central State has its capital in Enugu, which is now part of Enugu State. Enugu, being the capital of the East Central State, has lots of structures built by the colonial administrators. Among the structures are the old State House of Assembly, the old government lodge, the railway, and the post office. Others are the Presidential Hotel, the Old State Secretariat, and the coal mine quarters, which now look more like settlements for refugees. Some of these relics, like the railway subway, which before now served as faster routes for people moving from one end of Enugu to the other, has been in a state of neglect over the years. The old government lodge is being maintained and used by successive administrations, while the old secretariat buildings have been replaced with new structures, a situation some key players frowned at.
If you look at the quality of some of these buildings, for instance, if you go to the Enugu Secretariat, the State Secretariat, you will discover that the brick house there will still outlive the one that was just recently constructed. But my argument is, why can we not creatively put this to use?
Any society, any group of persons that demolish everything about their past has totally lost touch with their past.
Other observers are of the opinion that some of the relics of the colonial rule, if properly maintained, can serve as museums and tourist centers and as well be a source of revenue for the state.
It's quite not fair because our children will lack evidence for history. You know, last time I went to America, I discovered where John F. Kennedy was killed. 1963 became a tourist center, and we paid to go in there just to view the place. So
I think those monuments should be retained as a tourist center so that the generation that are yet to come will still see, and they will be told that in the past this was this and this was this.
A cross-section of some individuals in Enugu are of the opinion that the Ministry of Culture and Tourism be assigned with the responsibility of caring for the relics of the colonial rule. In Enugu, Ifoma Ndu-Okolie, NTA News.
Well, Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, is the melting pot of various tribes and cultures in the country. In spite of this convergence of diversity, the nation's capital has lived up to its reputation and slogan as the center of unity. Mitaire Ikpen reports that the center of unity status of Abuja is not rhetoric, but a reality.
The status of Abuja as Nigeria's capital and center of unity stems from the story of its creation. Carved out of Niger, Nasarawa and Kogi states, Abuja was created as Federal Capital Territory by late Head of State General Murtala Muhammad on the 3rd of February 1976, following the recommendations of the Justice Akinola Aguda panel mandated to scout for a new capital due to the congestion of Lagos, the former capital. The Aguda panel settled for Abuja after considering 33 possible locations due to its centrality to the rest of the country. It has since been a safe haven for all Nigerians, irrespective of tribe or religion, blazing the trail as the nation's center of unity and peaceful coexistence.
It has served as a center of peace, center of unity, center of understanding.
Lagos, we have indigenes of Lagos, we have indigenes, but in Abuja here, they may have a natural indigenes. But when we look at it in terms of the constitution or how it was created, there's no indigene.
Abuja have been a place home for all. In unity, Abuja itself is established.
Like a TV might know it's a farmer. We have land enough to farm. We interact with them. Anything we are doing, we do it together. If they have occasion, they call us. Even the Igbos and the Yorubas that we co-live together, we live in peace. We make friendship with each other.
We thank our founding fathers that we are able to think and decide that there should be a new capital here in Abuja.
As the nation marks 57 years of independence, residents of Abuja say the culture of accommodating one another as Nigerians in peace and harmony will be sustained.
What we need to do is to live together in peace and in love.
There is strength in unity.
Let us continue living together as a family. And not only in Abuja, but as Nigeria.
We are one nation. No attempt to divide this country will work.
For Nigerians who reside in the nation's capital, the message is, though tribe and tongue may differ, but in brotherhood we stand. They are on the same page that the unity of the country is the best bet for growth and development. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Thank you, Mitaire. Now, unity, peace, and peaceful coexistence have been the resonating messages from churches to mosques, groups, and individuals as Nigeria marked 57 years of independence. Reasons for the focus on issues of peace and unity are not far-fetched. If you are abreast of recent happenings in the polity, more of such calls for national unity just came in from the southeast, precisely Enugu, where they are saying that Nigerians will benefit more from a united nation. James Okparaekocha has that story.
Since 1960, when Nigeria gained independence, the country has had its ups and downs, from the crisis of the Western region to the Nigerian Civil War and several interventions. Yet, Nigeria has continued to forge ahead. With the 57th independence celebration still in the air, some political analysts from the southeast have reiterated their belief in one Nigeria.
Buhari is doing the right thing now. Or what the other could have done many years ago, or what Buhari is doing now. To clean the system, because the system is bad. Only Buhari can clean it in a lifetime. We wish God to protect him and give him longer life to do the right thing.
But I actually wish that Nigeria would be a country that practices equity, justice, and fair play.
War is not good for any country. What we are celebrating today is that we have overcome our challenges and remain one united country. Our aspiration is always to have a more perfect union. Definitely there will be mistakes here and there, but we're marching on. And we look onto a greater nation, a greater country.
We are doing well, we are growing, and we hope that the days ahead is better.
They are optimistic that with promises made, it's hoped that Nigerians will join hands with their leaders to build a virile nation. From Enugu, James Okparaekocha, NTA News.
We all know that Nigeria is a country of well over 250 ethnic groups and as much languages. Cultural differences and opinions, too, are bound to differ. This much was captured in the former national anthem, which said, though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. That's the catchword, brotherhood. And there are many things that tend to bring us together than those that put us apart. One of such things is sports. You just wait and see how Nigerians bond together, irrespective of tribes and tongues, when Nigeria is playing. Now, does anybody remember the Atlanta Olympics football gold? How then can sports be utilized to achieve unity in diversity? Kene Emabudike, do you have an answer to that?
The top, Igalo gives JC. Has he got the strength? Yes, he has. Can he get a finish? Yes, he can. Nigeria lead.
Such is the passion and followership of sports by all strata of the Nigerian society, particularly when national teams are on duty. At such moments, Nigerians shun the discordant tunes of tribe and religion to speak with one voice and demonstrate love for one another.
It is a very important tool for bringing peace and unity in any country, and that is the reason why the government and all the other multinational, all organizations have to face squarely the issue of development of sport in this country.
People who love a particular event, they love it irrespective of gender, irrespective of race or religion. They come together.
Being a sector that is primarily driven by the youth, many believe that the positives in sports, if well harnessed, would be immensely beneficial to nation building and sustenance of peace and unity amongst citizens.
In the 70s, we know what sports did. After the Civil War, sports brought most of us together. So many conflicts here and there, but when you put sports as to checkmate all this problem. You find out there will be no problem again.
The portion from the old national anthem which says, though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand, is clearly depicted in our sporting space. And as we all bask in the euphoria of the nation's 57th independence anniversary, let us all begin to create avenues through which the sporting sector can thrive better for the good of the nation. Nigeria can still do it. Yes, we can. In Abuja, Kenem Ima Abudike, NTA News.
I totally agree with you, Kene. We can do it. Now, Nigerian youths have identified convergence of efforts by all ethnic groups as the panacea to the country's reclamation of the rightful place in the Committee of Nations. This is the submission of youths in Anambra State during a peace rally held under the platforms of Ndigbo Peace Movement, Arewa Youth Forum, and Odudua Alliance. Joy Ilegbu has details of that report.
Peace and unity! One Nigeria!
Operating with the team Peace Begins With Me, Chairman Ndigbo Peace Movement Divine Onyekachi, leader of the Arewa Youth Forum Alhaji Bello Meguri, and the state coordinator Odudua Youth Alliance say the rally is born out of their commitment to the peace and unity of the country as it marks its 57 years of independence.
It's not about fighting each other. If you watch, you see that the people below that the one killing themselves, fighting for nothing we don't even know. A mistake that happened in the past. So we don't want that to repeat again. We want this generation to make a difference.
Our founding leaders, when they were talking, they say one Nigeria. Even though you wake them 12 midnight, they'll be still talking one Nigeria, especially Zik of Africa.
We are coming together to say no to violence. We are coming together to say no to unrest. We are coming together to preach peace, unity, and oneness.
Stressing the need for peaceful coexistence in the country, irrespective of ethnic and religious inclinations, the youth stated their resolve to ensure that Nigeria is not plunged into another civil crisis. They emphasized their determination not to allow acts of lawlessness that would drag the nation to the path of retrogression and advised those with valid reasons for agitations to do so through proper channels.
A Yoruba man, a Hausa man, we're one, for goodness sake. We can have what we want if we sit down together as brothers and discuss.
After here, we're going for something we call a grassroots movement, a kind of a town hall, so that the people there will tell us this is what we want. These are the people that are making us to agitate, making people to have the agitation. If it's empowerment, empower them. If it's reorientation, we give them proper reorientation so that they will understand that this thing is not just us fighting without knowing what we are fighting for.
The groups, which had earlier signed a peace pact in the state, say they will continue in their commitment to peace and unity of Nigeria. In Oka, Joy Ilwebu, NTA News.
And away from issues of peace and unity, taking a look at Nigeria's economy in retrospect, the recovery of the black gold, crude oil, in commercial quantity has provided abundant revenue that has led Nigeria into a position of a mono economy. Other environmental and social problems created along the way have all led to a paradoxical scenario of Nigeria's oil and gas resources constituting a blessing and a curse. Reversing this trend through the maximization of the resources before the projected depletion, as well as the diversification of the economy, is the new focus of government. Over now to energy correspondent Hawa Salihu Adama for the strategies to fast-track the process.
4 years before independence was when Nigeria struck the rare germ, which has for the 57 years of its history shaped the destiny of the country.
Provided the sole resource for infrastructure, for growth, for all the experiments that we've done. They've also provided their own fair share, obviously, of the problems that we've inherited. Because the massive movement of people from the usual occupations, agriculture, and the rest.
Despite Nigeria's position as a gas province with some oil, emphasis over the years has been on crude oil production. With developments around the globe indicating high technological advancement likely to speed up the exit of fossils especially crude, concerted efforts run to boost both crude oil and gas production for maximum benefit and proper linkage.
We need to put in more infrastructure, we need to develop more reserves and bring them into line of production, because the demand within Nigeria is high, and with our demand for electricity, we have also conceived that we will build an industrial park at Ojide Bay, which will have a cluster of petrochemicals.
This is the Oredo Flow Station, commissioned in 1996. It is one of MPDC's solely owned crude oil processing facility with a capacity of 25,000 barrels of crude oil per day and 200 million scf of gas. This facility is very, very significant in the sense that it processes both crude oil and gas. The crude oil goes directly to the Forcados terminal for export, while the gas goes to the Nigeria Gas Company for onward delivery to the NIPPs. The continuous running of this plant is significant and very important because it determines the amount of electricity that Nigerians get through the NIPPs.
Fortunately, the way our facility is structured, we are very close to some captive power producers. So we usually stood in the gap and supplied gas directly to these facilities. Most gas producers in Nigeria don't have this structural advantage.
Another major step at adding value to the larger economy is the inclusion of more qualified indigenous experts into the sector through the Nigerian Content Law. Although latest data from the National Bureau of Statistics underscores the continued relevance of the nation's oil and gas sector, as it was top in bringing Nigeria out of recession with a 1.64% contribution to the GDP, commentators are optimistic that with the right legislation and new vision for the Niger Delta region, the oil and gas sector would have properly linked the economy and position the country for life beyond oil. In Abuja, I'm Hawa Salihu Adama, NTA News.
And talking business now, the Nigerian Stock Exchange market data to deepen investors' confidence in profitable investment on the capital market, as stakeholders attribute the low yield in the money market to the lower patronage on the capital market. These are more on our business news segment with Abolade Salami.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on the business news segment. As part of efforts geared towards broadening investors' knowledge on making sound decisions in capital markets with regards to buying and sales of securities, the Nigerian Stock Exchange has begun the use of market data to enable investors make profitable investment decisions. The Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Stock Exchange, Oscar Oyema, says the market data will guide investors on gaining actionable insights on securities available in the market.
Showing market participants how the use of market data can assist in making wise investment decisions. And indeed, nobody should make an investment without really understanding the dynamics behind the investment they're making, and market data facilitates that.
The movement by the federal government to beat down on its lending, stakeholders say, is responsible for the low yields currently experienced in the fixed income market.
Though it's low for now, which is expected. The two sides of the market, the money market and capital market, they are inversely related. So with the kind of low yields we start to see on the money market, we expect it to translate to, patronage in the capital market.
Meanwhile, in its bid to sustain foreign exchange liquidity in the market, the Central Bank of Nigeria has injected the sum of $195 million in the interbank's forex market. Figures released showed that the sum of $100 million was offered to the wholesale segment, while the small and medium-scale enterprises received the sum of $50 million. The invisible segment, comprising tuition fees, medical payments, and basic travel allowances, got $45 million. Hanera midweek trading on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
At the close of midweek trading on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, volume of shares traded stood at 174 million shares, valued at 2.7 billion naira, which exchanged hands at 3,599 deals, with an all-share index of 35,358.57 basic points, while market capitalization closed at 12.17 trillion naira. Nestle, with 5 naira 2 kobo gain, led the table, closely followed by Total, which appreciated by 4 naira 5 kobo to close at 235 naira per share. Dangote Sugar, which depreciated by 46 kobo to close at 13 naira 93 kobo per share.
Stock Market Report concludes our business news segment tonight. News Extra continues shortly. Please stay with us.
Well, you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Senate moves to put the investigator under investigation. That's the outlook when we return in just a moment. Join us for the details.
From 1967 to 1970, Nigeria went through a horrifying civil war. It didn't matter who was wrong or right. Everybody suffered. Those who fought that war say it should never happen again.
So a lot of people will say, but you were leading the first one. Yes, I led the first one. I don't think a second one is necessary. We should have learned from that first one. Otherwise, the dead would have been to no avail, would all have been in vain.
The words of our elders are full of wisdom.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Going up? Of course you are. And why not? With Glow Internet, built on Africa's largest wholly owned metro fiber network, the sky is, well, it is rather unlimited. Up is upbeat, seamless. Up is quick and easy access to all your favorite apps and entertainment. And there is no downside on a network committed to upping your fun and productivity. Get quick on your uptake, my friend, and upset the odds in your favor. Because on Glow, up isn't an upgrade. It is the upgrade. Going up?
Glow 4G LTE. These data plans are available to all new customers and existing customers who renew their plans. Dial *777#. Welcome to the new speed of life.
Nigeria is a strong emerging world economy with a population of over 170 million people. With the diligent work of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, in line with the federal government's economic diversification agenda, SON has put in place accredited laboratories to ensure that made in Nigeria products meet international standards and ready for export. SON regularly conducts products registration, certifications, factory inspections, monitoring, a metrology laboratory to get accurate measurements, while SONCAP checks the conformity of imported products and the SON Legal Act to prosecute offenders. Don't sell and don't buy substandard products. Before you buy, look well. See something, say something, or call these numbers. SON, improving life through standards.
Availability, check. Confidentiality, check. Integrity, check. Transformation in action. The 6 years of Governor Abdul Aziz Abubakar Yari in Zamfara State clearly manifest good governance and foresight. In fact, transforming the agrarian state to the promised land. Welcome to Zamfara, a state being governed by a visionary and dynamic leader whose magic finger is touching every aspect of human lives. No wonder Abdul Aziz Yari is being referred as agent of Buhari's change mantra. Yari is bringing development closer to the Zamfara people and the nation at large. Zamfara, the pride of the nation. This message is brought to you by Iowa Media Group.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
The Federal Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Nigeria Union of Teachers, cordially invites Chairman of Senate and House Committee on Education, Commissioners of Education in all the states, Education Secretary of the FCT, and Chief Executives of agencies under the Federal Ministry of Education, Nigeria Union of Teachers officials, other stakeholders, and the general public to the 2017 World Teachers' Day celebration as follows. Date, 5th October 2017. Venue, Eagle Square, Abuja. Time, 10 a.m. Host, Minister of State for Education, Professor Anthony Gozie Anwuka. Chief Host, Minister of Education, Adamu. Guest of Honor, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Permanent Secretary, Announcer.
Do you know that the Nigerian police now operates in the best international practices of policing? Do you know that the Nigerian police has been restructured to be more accountable and responsive to all your security challenges? Now, what the police demand from you is your trust, your collaborative efforts by providing necessary information about criminals and their activities in your neighborhood. Be vigilant to achieve our creed as we promise. We shall police the country based on international core values of policing with integrity. We shall ensure that rule of law prevails in our actions and activities. We shall respect diversity, display courage, show compassion, and demonstrate professionalism. We shall operate within the principle of democratic policing. We shall shun corruption, and we shall make Nigeria safer and secured under the leadership of IGP Ibrahim Otum Idris.
Let the wind of change blowing across the country chase away crime for the benefit of our society. Yes, the Nigerian police says this change must come with peace and tranquility.
This message was brought to you by the Public Relations Department of the Nigerian Police Force.
Welcome back. I'm so glad you're joining us again on the program. Now we begin with the National Assembly, where the Senate says it will set up an ad hoc committee to investigate allegations of corruption and anomalies in promotion of officers in the Office of the Inspector General of Police. This followed a point of order raised at the plenary by Senator representing Bauchi Central, Isa Haruna Misau. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adeguloye has that report.
The allegations center on bribery in terms of special promotions in the police, revenues being generated in the police force despite the force not being a revenue-generating institution, postings and transfers.
I was so much concerned about what is happening in the police when I raised issues concerning bribery in terms of special promotion that the police is giving, which led to the IG getting scared of a lot of things will come to light.
I think we've listened to our colleague, and he has raised a number of very, very important issues, which we cannot just sweep under the carpet. I think for most of us, the most important issue is how we reform our institutions and how we fight corruption. The basis of all this started on the issue of whether, one, there were bribery in the issue of promotion exercises and revenue of police. And these matters, I think, are weighty enough and they must be investigated. And as such, I think what we will do, we'll set up another committee to look into these allegations and bring a report back to us at the end of session.
The Senate emphasizes that investigations will be thorough and will be seen to be in alliance with federal government's anti-corruption fight. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
The prison is not a place to be. Agreed. Now, in some climes, prison is truly a place to reform those with deviant and criminal dispositions. But still, it is not a place one wishes to be, especially the Nigerian prison. Now, imagine you are a prisoner, and the prison you're in is congested, and you know in Nigeria, there are more awaiting trial inmates than there are convicted prisoners. But here in the FCT, something is being done about this. This congestion, as the judiciary has dedicated a special division of its court to the speedy trial of criminal matters. Chief Judge of the FCT High Court, Justice Ishaq Bello, inaugurated the court during a visit to the Kuje prisons. Femi Okewo was there and our reports.
It is the third visit in as many weeks of judges of the FCT to prison facilities that serve the nation's capital. And the stories about congestion of prisons is no more just statistics, but obvious constraints to the nation's criminal justice system. So, the Chief Judge of the FCT High Court says one of the best ways out is to reduce the distance suspects and prison officials travel to attend trials by staying in Kuje for their cases.
We have declared the High Court Kuje as the criminal trial division so that nobody will suffer not being taken to court because of lack of transportation.
As every prison visit has turned out to be, this visit to the Kuje prisons again exposed some of the failings of the nation's justice system. And for each of the failings, Justice Ishaq Bello responded in the way the law permitted him to. Like in the cases of persons who had stayed 4 to 5 years awaiting trial, more time than their sentence would be had they been convicted.
The entire police prosecutors here have shown that they don't know about the existence of this case. And we don't have anybody from the Ministry of Justice. For them to stay for 4 years without prosecution, I think it is quite inhuman. And we are not going to continue to encourage this kind of attitude. Accordingly, the suspects are hereby discharged.
Like in the case of 3 minors who should have been in Bostal or juvenile centers, and even clemency for an 82 and 75-year-old convicts. It's another prison visit by the Chief Judge of the FCT, and so many lessons there up for the nation to learn and for the nation's judicial system. One sure one this time is about the need for Bostal homes for children or underage who have gone on the wrong side of the law. From the Kuje medium security prisons, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
The House of Representatives is considering a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Assets Management Agency, which will be saddled with the responsibility of managing all government assets, including seized ones. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unkwo reports that the bill has been passed for second reading.
Some Nigerians have raised questions on how some assets seized by various federal government agencies are managed. As a result, the House of Representatives has argued in favor of a bill that will create an agency to manage government assets. That bill is sponsored by Representative Jones Onyereri.
Mr. Speaker, there's nothing as good as having a proper coordination and management of all our assets that are so scattered amongst government agencies.
Due to the vigorous anti-corruption drive of the present administration, there is the need to set up an agency that will be specifically mandated with the duty of administering these assets.
So if the courts have said, look, this property should be forfeited to this organization, then we in Parliament are saying transfer to another body so that we will make profit. That is not the intent of the order.
What this agency is supposed to actually address are those properties seized where litigation has been finalized and concluded.
It's referred to Committee on Banking and Currency.
The issue of quality education featured on the floor as Representative Mohammed Mahmood moved the motion on the need to assess books recommended for junior secondary schools and candidates for Joint Admission and Matriculation Board. The prevalence of malaria in Kano State came as a matter of urgent public importance, moved by Representative Damburam Abubakar Nuhu. But members argued that the health issue is not peculiar to Kano State alone.
Direct Committee on Health to liaise with the Federal Ministry of Health to assist in controlling the persistent malaria epidemic in Kano and the country at large.
We urge the Kano State government to take proactive steps in cleaning up rubbish dumps and fleeting all gutters and breeding grounds.
A motion to rescind the Conference Committee report on a bill for an act to establish the National Assembly Budget and Research Office was adopted. The House received the report of its Committee on Internally Displaced Persons, Refugees and Northeast Initiative on a tour to visit communities and government properties destroyed in Yobe State. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Now, the beauty of democracy is its principles of checks and balances, not only between and among the institutions of democracy, that's the executive, the legislature and the judiciary, but also because it provides a platform in which the political environment checks the system itself. The vibrancy of any democratic tenant is when it provides opportunity for that principle of check and balances to thrive between the electorate and those they put in leadership positions. One issue that remains of public interest is how much Nigerian National Assembly members are earning as their remuneration. While the members and senators advise the public to shun unverified allegations regarding their spendings and earnings, some civil society activists want them to be open. Political correspondent Abdullahi Garba Birnikudu takes up the story from here.
Order! Nigeria's constitution allows for bicameral legislature with 360 House of Representatives members and 109 senators. The alleged secrecy surrounding their remuneration has remained a thorny issue in public discourse. Individuals, groups and complaints in certain quarters, especially civil society, have continued with a call to put the earnings of the National Assembly legislators under close examination, especially against the backdrop of the current administration drive towards curbing excesses in public expenditure and the fight against corruption. It will be recalled that just recently, the chairman of Presidential Committee on Anti-Corruption, Professor Itse Sege, has called to question the remuneration of national legislators. The civil society, on its part, has made credence to what he said, describing the pay package of these lawmakers as too heavy on the national economy.
I stand with Professor Sagi.
That's how much?
29 million. I stand with Professor Sagi. It's their own responsibility to refute his argument. Who in Nigeria can tell exactly the salaries and allowances of members of the National Assembly? Even those who have left the National Assembly still operate under an oath of secrecy.
As they now respond to such claims of Jimbopi, to them, Chairman Senate Committee on Appropriations, Senator Muhammad Danju Magoji, describes such claims as false and unfounded.
How can the salary be 29 million naira? How much, if you multiply 29 million naira by 360 members of the House of Reps and then 108 members of the Senate, then multiply by 12, how much will we get? It doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't add up. How much is our total budget? How much is our total budget? Our budget, even this year, which will increase. Previous years, our budget used to be 115 billion. Now the budget is 125 billion. So how much? Don't forget that we have a lot of other expenses that are not related to, are not consumed or given to members. We have a lot of civil servants.
And from the House of Representatives, Representative Abubakar Chika Adamu says the public misconstrued salary earnings as against running costs for the functions of legislative office and oversight.
As I'm speaking to you, the total amount coming to me per month is about 616,000. It's supposed to be about nearly 900 and something, but because we were given car loan, and it's been deducted from that. However, like any other office in Nigeria occupied by an executive, we have what we call an office running cost. Just like anything they call impressed in various offices.
Coming into the issue, the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, the body responsible for determining the remuneration of public office holders, says the salary of the legislators is far below the claims by those who frown at the so-called jumbo pay for the legislators.
The typical salary of the senator would be 168,000 naira, which annually would come to about 2,026,400. But the allowances, aggregate allowances that are the regular ones, we call regular salary allowances, for the senators will be at 1 million. That you now add that, would be, that makes it about monthly 1.1 million.
Just as the legislators are denying the alleged quoted bumper payments, the civil society groups are calling for openness on budgetary spendings. This is in the interest of the anti-corruption drive of the present administration. Efforts to get the response of the Presidential Advisor on Anti-Corruption, Professor Itso Sigi, could not yield positive results. The National Assembly members on their part are advising the general public and concerned Nigerians to always verify their facts before making any allegation, especially by acquainting themselves with the operations and functions of the National Assembly. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
Now, crime surely does not pay, as the long arm of the law caught up with 65 suspects for allegedly committing crime ranging from armed robbery, cultism, rituals and impersonation, as well as kidnapping. The Ogun State Commissioner of Police, Ahmed Ilyasu, while parading the suspects, restated the commitment of the command to ridding the state of criminal activities. Lukman Adefeso witnessed the parade, and this is his report.
Parading the 65 suspects, the Commissioner of Police, CP Ahmed Ilyasu, said that a member of the gang who shot a divisional police officer, Ogbore Division, CSP Adeyinka Akingbade, was also arrested. He added that the briefing was to give an account on first quarter of Operation Mop-Up across Ogun State to ensure that criminal activities have no place in any part of the state.
Ogun State is the new industrial hope of this country, of the sub-region. That is why we have designed this operation and we have made this harvest of criminals and all their weapons in order to make Ogun State one of the safest industrial hub and investment area.
He, however, enjoined residents of the state to continue to support the Nigerian police in combating crimes and criminalities by providing useful information that could lead to the arrest of criminals in the state. Some of the suspects confessed to the crimes.
Me now, I the rob now. Now me I assist the rob.
How many years?
Don't reach 3 years now. 3 years.
Various arms and ammunition were recovered, as well as vehicles, motorcycle, 800 bags of cement and T-shirts with inscription of Aye Confraternity. Lukman Adefeso, NTA News.
Another seizure by the Nigeria Customs Service. What again, you may ask? Find out after these messages.
Between August and October, large containers of cables, falsely declared as electric distribution board and blast, unprocessed wood, scrap metals and wet blue leather, all fall under export prohibition list, were intercepted by the unit. Others include 28 vehicles, 17 of which were evacuated from car marts for infractions in their documents, more than 4,000 bags of rice, bales of used clothing and shoes, Indian hemp and drugs, Acipep and Ciprogil injections.
some of these goods, they are as small as dangerous they are. You find them in commercial vehicles. We are doing our best to make sure that we bring these people to the barest minimum.
Son and NAFDAC reacted to the seizures.
Promodax Nigerian cable. Yes. To deceive Nigerian consumers and populace that this product was made in Nigeria, but actually it was imported.
As they come into the country, they should go through what we call stamping through the Ports Inspection Directorate. But I understand that this product did not go through that process.
Comptroller Mohammed Uba also told newsmen that a cumulative of more than 395 million naira was recovered within the period under review. He said 8 suspects have been arrested in connection with 128 seizures. In Lagos, Viera Chumuba, NTA News.
Well, that was actually a report on the customs seizure where the Federal Operations Unit Zone A of the Nigeria Customs Service, Ikeja, Lagos, has intensified its operational modalities to beat the current tactics of smugglers. The effort has resulted in the interception of various contraband with a full duty paid value of more than 350 million naira. The controller of the unit, Controller Mohammed Uba, spoke at a press conference in Lagos. Now, moving on, the Executive Secretary, Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, Sharon Ikeazo, says the Directorate will continue to build on its success by being transparent in all its dealings. This came to the fore when she visited pensioners undergoing verification at the Nigerian Defense Academy Staff Secondary School in Kaduna. Ibrahim Bello Gunda was there and now reports.
Undergoing the verification exercise, which started on Monday, are employees of New Nigerian newspaper, Nigeria Insurance Corporation, civilian personnel of Nigerian Defense Academy, and Nigeria Insurance. The exercise is aimed at capturing the retirees of the 4 organizations into the pension database of the Directorate under the defined benefit scheme to enable them draw pension entitlements as at when due. The retirees, some of whom for over 12 years have not benefited from pension, described the exercise as divine intervention to include them in the scheme, commended the procedure.
For long, we have given up, honestly, because this is exactly our 18 years after our retirement.
The organization was quite all right. The moment you come, you were ushered in, and very frankly, we were able to be captured.
Very fantastic. It has been going on very smoothly, as you can see. People are happy, and anyway, all things are in order.
The Executive Secretary, while on assessment visit to Kaduna, took time to explain to the pensioners the verification process.
To do the computation, to do the payrolling, and to upload. That is why your BVN is very key in this verification. Without BVN, we will not be able to pay.
She reacted on the confidence the pensioners are expressing on the Directorate.
Petard has come in to restore hope to pension administration, and everything we do has been transparent. When it's gone through the audit processes, the pensioners now receive their benefits electronically direct into their bank accounts.
Over 5,000 pensioners are to be verified in 3 centers in 6 days, including those on sickbed to be verified by Petard mobile team. In Kaduna, Ibrahim Bello Gunda, NTA News.
The Jos Electricity Distribution Company has expressed its determination to the restructuring and upgrading of facilities for improved electricity distribution to its teeming customers. The managing director of the company, Mohammed Gedad Obodibo, made this declaration at the JESC Customers Forum in Jos, the Plateau State capital. Caleb Goching was there.
As many as the people gathered in this hall, so were the issues raised concerning electricity supply. However, before the submissions of various representatives at this forum, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of JEDC, who was represented by the Executive Director Marketing, Ver Jibo, assured the gathering that all issues raised would be addressed. He said the customers are key to the growth of the company and nothing would be left to chance at ensuring that electricity gets to all Nigerians, irrespective of their location or status.
We had started a metering program some months ago. We have a go-ahead on our strategic metering plan, which we hope at the end of this exercise we will go back to it.
Irregular power supply, metering, tariffs and insufficient or non-functional transformers dominated the issues raised. Responding to these challenges, key management staff of the company promised to look into the issues with the aim of addressing them.
Just Electricity Distribution Company, the state government, have been putting pressure on TCN, that's the Transmission Company of Nigeria, to commission the transmission station that was started 40 years ago in Panchi.
The regulator knows that there are circumstances under which a customer can be issued estimated bills. If you have a faulty meter, where you have a meter in place, and for some reasons you are not at home or in your office, as at the time our managers were out in the field, where you have a meter that has been unfunctional, it's not something that can be read.
The Jos Electricity Distribution Company covers Benue, Plateau, Bauchi, and Gombe states. I am Caleb Gochin, NTN.
And as part of strategies to ensure efficiency, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has organized a stakeholders consultative meeting on the review of the multi-year tariff order methodology, business continuity regulation, and customer declaration in Kano. Sani Basiru reports that the meeting is being attended by stakeholders from the northwest geopolitical zone of the country. His report.
The two-day consultation forum is set out to amend the existing tariff methodology used for determining electricity tariffs in the Nigerian electricity supply industry. Vice Chairman, Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, Sunusi Garba, said this is in line with Section 76, subsection 9 of the Electric Power Sector Reform Act 2005 and the business rules of the Commission, which enable public to make their inputs into the proposed regulations.
We need to consult with the public before coming out with a regulation that would allow consumers to buy electricity from generators from power plants directly. The second issue that we are here to discuss with stakeholders is how we can make meters available to consumers.
Papers were presented on review of multi-year tariff order methodology and business continuity regulation, as well as eligible customers and metering. Stakeholders described the forum as a step towards addressing the problems facing the Nigerian electricity supply industry.
The forum is a very important one because it is a forum whereby there is dialogue between the consumers, the suppliers, and the regulatory commission. If we can have sufficient electricity in Nigeria, we can be able to reach the milestone that we desire.
The more you buy, the less you pay. This system has to be adopted.
The consultation witnessed comments, reactions, and inputs from stakeholders, which the Commission will consider before setting out for final decision on the draft regulation. In Kano, Sani Basiru, NTA News.
We apologize for the poor audio there. Now, the issue of care for the IDP has grown to be a touchy one in Nigeria. Anywhere an internally displaced person comes, springs up accusations of profiteering and diversion of relief materials is bound to follow. This recent show of shame manifested in the IDP camp in Benue, which led to violence and subsequent premature closure of the camp by the state government. It is to forestall this type of scenario that the national emergency has adopted a door-to-door distribution of relief materials to over 10,000 IDPs in Taraba State. This, the agency says, is also in line with the directives from the president. Awal Ibrahim tells us more about this.
Presenting the relief material to the internally displaced persons at the IDP camp in Mutumbiu, Gaso local government area, the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, represented by the Deputy Director, Relief and Rehabilitation, Sanusi Ado, said a total of 10,433 IDPs were identified in 9 local government areas in the state. He said the door-to-door distribution is a continuous exercise as part of measures to ameliorate the suffering of the IDPs as directed by President Muhammadu Buhari.
All this one, people are saying they are apprehensive, but actually we are getting to their houses. We are asking them to go back to their houses. We are coming with our tricycles, push carts. We are going to their houses. You have seen it.
The distribution process was conducted in a transparent and orderly manner as every household received a bag of maize, sorghum, and soya beans. Leader of the IDPs, Rayanu Umar, while appreciating NEMA for the kind gesture, said the relief will go a long way in reducing the hardship being experienced by the IDPs. He called on government to hasten the process of their return to their various communities to enable them go about their normal activities. The beneficiaries, who are full of appreciation, thanked President Muhammadu Buhari and prayed for the unity and peaceful coexistence of the country. In Jalingo, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
We'll now take that commercial break. There'll be more when News Extra returns in just a moment. Join us again.
Competition is in. Who knows? 6 in Lagos, 8 in Abuja, and opening another in Abuja next week. Who's the guy?
No, man. Moses was at Chelsea. Then he went to Liverpool. But before that, he was at
Crystal Palace 2007. Joined Chelsea 2012. 42 career goals.
This coffee is nice. I wonder where it's from.
This blend is actually from Brazil. However, coffee originated in Ethiopia in the 13th century.
Connect from any network with Glow MiFi. Share and enjoy 4G data speeds on any 2G or 3G device nationwide.
Flavor.
Real name is Chinedu Okoli, born 1983.
Chinedu.
The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
Where innovation begins. The Brain, LG inverter technology. Better performance. More energy savings. Now in the entire lineup at LG.
Where is the pulp? The pulp. Where is the pulp? Where is the pulp?
Taste the goodness of real orange pulp in every gulp.
Where is the pulp?
5 Alive Pulpy Orange, now in your neighborhood.
The family of a corn has been taken hostage by an evil-looking creature.
When Amatem Fort appear, malaria run for cover. Amatem Fort I get some gel capsules, tablets for adults, and suspension for pikin. Amatem does not eat somebody and are very easy to use. Remember how Amatem Fort I get scratch pin to confirm the original, and I get some gel capsules. Amatem. Say no to malaria, yes to life.
Hey, great news! Oral-B has just been voted Kudos #1 quality toothpaste of 2017 by you. So even though times are hard, as a mother, you know that Oral-B is good for your family's oral health because they deserve the best. It's great value because it protects you against tooth holes and gum problems that can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your family's teeth and gives them all-round protection. So remember, protect their future. Oral-B for healthier and stronger teeth in 1 week.
If you're just joining us, you're on to NTA News Extra on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Diversification of the nation's economy through agriculture, solid minerals, and other opportunities has been an enduring theme of the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. What then will be your reaction to hear that importation of maize, a commodity readily produced in Nigeria, is on the rise? The issue came under close examination at the Senate plenary, where a motion on the urgent need to investigate this trend with a view to ending disenfranchised men of farmers in Nigeria was adopted. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adeguloye now reports.
Senators observed that the Nigerian market is currently inundated with maize that is imported from the Ukraine, Brazil and South Africa. And the mover of the motion, Senator representing Kebbi Central, Mohammed Aliero, highlights the consequences of this on Nigerian farmers.
Nigerian farmers are seriously put in disadvantaged position because the landing cost of imported maize has made it difficult for them to recover their production cost. This invariably means that millions will be out of job next year.
Maize and soya bean, they are the two major components of feed for poultry in this country and the world over.
This is a very disturbing development. Disturbing in the sense that it touches the very core, the very nerve of the effort of this government to diversify the economy of this country.
Most of these farms, we have grown corn, and the corn has been germinating very well. So if you now allow importation of corn, it means you are now killing the business of corn planters.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay.
In line with federal government's anti-corruption agenda, the Senate also resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) trading company over alleged sharp practices. The motion was moved by Senator representing Imo East, Samuel Anyao.
This motion is coming as a result of resolve of this Senate to support the present administration in the fight corruption.
Various committee chairmen presented their reports on the 2017 budget of corporations and agencies of government, with consideration of these to commence at plenary on Thursday, 5th of October 2017. 13 bills were also considered for second reading, including a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Facilities Managers.
Charged with the responsibilities to, among other things, register persons seeking to be facility managers, set regulations and standards, inspect facilities,
and a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Directors of Nigeria, sponsored by Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu.
The Institute's major objective is to, among other things, provide professional training to directors in the public and private sectors to facilitate effective governance, public accountability, and professional efficiency.
The lawmakers took time to remember two-term Senator Mahmoud Kanti Bello, who passed on recently at the age of 72. A minute's silence was held in his honor. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
Well, I'm sure you remember this adage that says, water, water everywhere, but none to drink. Well, if you look around you, you would most likely say, food, food everywhere. But the question is there enough to eat? If you say there is none to eat, you won't be wrong, because Nigeria has been ranked as home to the third largest number of chronically malnourished children in the world. Not Africa, the world, the whole world. Now, this has got the Minister of State Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, very worried. Her concerns were expressed at the 2017 Nigerian Nutrition Week celebration in Abuja. Joy Uzo was there, and she tells us more about that.
The minister, who declared open the second edition of the Nigeria Nutrition Week in Abuja, said if nothing is done, 1 in 5, that is about 500,000 children, will die annually, according to a global 2013 nutrition report. Malnourished children, she noted, tend to have lower IQ and impaired cognitive ability, with resultant negative effects on their performance in school and productivity later in life.
And it makes investment in nutrition imperative in the most desired economic recovery and growth in the country, as encapsulated in the ERGP.
Provision was made in the 2017 budget for the procurement of ready-to-use therapeutic food for the treatment of severe acute malnutrition.
Part of activities lined up for the second edition of the Nutrition Week include roadworks, advocacy in churches and mosques, as well as symposium and public enlightenment campaigns.
And we should celebrate it as if we really believe that nutrition is important.
We spend most of our outing reaching out to children in the ID camps, giving them the best nutritional foods in order for us to have healthy children and better leaders of tomorrow.
Speakers say the revised national policy on food and nutrition launched during the 2016 edition of Nutrition Week has been domesticated by almost all the states of the Federation, just as some development partners have demonstrated tremendous cooperation, especially with provision of technical assistance. In Abuja, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
The spirit of Beijing resonates among women parliamentarians in Nigeria as they agitate for affirmative action on women participation in governance. The details of that and more in just a moment.
Unemployment, notably youth unemployment, features strongly in our party's manifesto. We intend to attack the problem frontally through revival of agriculture.
The 30K is going a long way. Actually, I bought an acre of land for 60K like 2012, and presently I have a cassava farm and a yam farm.
What makes a nation truly unstoppable? It's being able to push in the face of odds, rise above limitations, and realize that everyone's effort counts when it comes to nation building. What makes us unstoppable? It's when we work together as a team, without letting our differences hold us back. There's no stopping the Nigerian dream. Reach for your peak, Nigeria. Happy Independence Day.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
The production and distribution of counterfeit medicine and adulterated food products have negative impact on our health and economy as a whole. I urge all Nigerians to support NAFDAC in safeguarding our health. God bless Nigeria.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sir Ahmadu Bello, Chief Obafemi Awolowo.
These patriots worked together to achieve independence for one united Nigeria. Although some may say Nigeria is a mistake, we all know that the Almighty never makes mistakes.
God has not made a mistake by bringing us all together in the way that He has brought us together. God has put us together here so that we can build a community that will be an example to the entire world.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Thanks for rejoining us. It's good to know you're still out there watching. Now, you know, with all the youths and women empowerment programs, spouses of past presidents and state governors have been speeding out, beginning from the Better Life for Rural Women program of late Mariam Babangida. It is not strange that the spirit of the Beijing conference is firmly rooted and women have been struggling for their share of the national cake, so to say. It's not surprising, therefore, that a summit of women parliamentarians is decrying the existence of only 6 deputy governors, 6 ministers, and few female legislators in states of assembly. Rabi Musa tells us that the women have come out with a 10-point communique to chart the ways of achieving set targets to take women to greater heights. Rabi, tell us more.
The Women Parliamentarians Communique, drawn from 6 sessions, Women in Politics in Nigeria, an overview, building strong synergy, challenges affecting women participation in politics, was read by the Executive Director of WORD, partners of the summit.
The summit calls on political parties to do more by adopting voluntary party quota strategies to ensure increase in women political emergence at party levels.
The main problem we have is that the men do not support the women.
Where women and all the other faces of the society are not represented is not a democratic dispensation.
That one of the reasons why women are left behind in the political space is because men feel threatened and they feel inferior.
Once people are able to identify that women have certain potentials and they can do even better than men if given the opportunities.
Towards the 2019 elections, UN Women is going to be working with political parties in ensuring that the capacity of our aspirant candidates are built.
Women should not be afraid. First step is for you to convince yourself that I can come out there and participate.
Over 200 women drawn from INEC, civil societies, women and youth organizations, as well as national and international organizations attended the summit. Rabi Musa, NTA News.
Thank you, Rabi. You know, all they are saying is they want a level playing ground. Up ahead, more reports. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
I was distressed to notice that some of the comments, especially in the social media, have crossed our national red lines by daring to question our collective existence as a nation. This is a step too far.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
And for a bit on sports now, Super Eagles are intensifying their training ahead of Saturday's clash with Zambia in the 2018 FIFA World Cup qualifier. John Paul Alumina was at the training session at the Goodswill Apabio Stadium in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital.
Players of Super Eagles of Nigeria, including 2 standby players from Akwa United FC, took part in the first training session at the training pitch of Goodswill Apabio International Stadium, Uyo, ahead of Russia 2018 World Cup qualifier against the Chipolopolo of Zambia on Saturday. The technical advisor, Coach Gennett Ross, says he is happy with the fitness level of his players.
I'm happy to see that they are respecting in the duel the opponent. You know, there is no foul in the training. There is a very good team spirit, and I hope that Saturday they will be on the top level of their fitness.
Some of the players said they are focused ahead of the match.
I think it was good, and we are at home because I think Uyo is a place where whenever we come, we feel at home. We're here to do our best.
This set of Eagles are ready to fly, and they're ready to go to the World Cup.
As I'm watching them right now, I think we'll beat the Chipolopolo of Zambia.
The training session was monitored by journalists and football fans who expressed satisfaction with the players' commitment in training. In Uyo, John Paul Alumina, NTA News.
A presidential delegation led by Chief of Staff to the President, Abba Kyari, has condoled the Emir of Dutse, Alhaji Nuhu Mohammed Sanusi, over the death of Wazirin Dutse, Air Vice Marshal Mukhtar Mohammed, who died recently. Ibrahim Sani reports that the delegation was received by the Emir of Garu at his palace in Dutse, Jigawa State. The report.
Led by Chief of Staff to the President Abba Kyari, the delegation expressed its heartfelt condolence to the Emir of Dutse, Alhaji Nuhu Muhammad Sanusi, friends and the family of late Wazirin Dutse, Air Vice Marshal Mukhtar Mohammed, who died in London after a brief illness. Abba Kyari described the death as a great loss to the nation and prayed Allah to grant Dutse Emirate, family and friends of the deceased the fortitude to bear the loss. He urged Emir of Dutse to extend federal government's condolence to entire people of the state. Minister of Defense said late Air Vice Marshal Mukhtar Mohammed will be greatly missed and remembered for his contributions toward nation building. The delegation comprised Ministers of Interior Abdurrahman Bello Dambazo, Education Malam Adamu, and that of Aviation Hadis Rika, as well as Special Assistant to the President of Media Malam Garba Shehu, among other top government functionaries, presented a condolence letter from President Muhammadu Buhari to the Emir of Dutse. Emir of Dutse, Alhaji Nuhu Muhammad Sanusi, thanked the delegation for the condolence visit and described the death of Air Vice Marshal Mukhtar Mohammed as a loss to the family, Jigawa State and Nigeria at large. From Dutse, Ibrahim Sani, NTA News.
May his soul rest in peace. And now a quick check on tomorrow's weather forecast.
Pleasure to have you join us on the weather segment. I'm Safia Hassan Yunusa. The northern part of the country are expected to be under partly cloudy to sunny condition down to some parts of the central states in the morning. Localized thunderstorms are anticipated over the remaining part of the central cities, part of southeast and southwest inland and coast. Later in the afternoon, there are chances of localized thunderstorms over southern Borno, parts of Sokoto, the central state and the